Kirk, going to this weekend against Wimbledon, obviously a disappointing result by all means last week against Northampton. Good point nevertheless with the conditions and everything like that. What are you looking moving forward into the Wimbledon game?
Yeah, I think Northampton, on reflection, when we've watched back this week, we've really dominated periods of the game, which is what we hope to do. And the philosophy that we've gone after is really making sure we dominate the ball, and we've done that in spells. Not enough at times. A couple of the lads said we probably deserved to win the game, and I think maybe a fair result was a draw in the end. Didn't quite do enough to get across the line, but hopefully over the next couple of weeks, that will start to come in where we get across the line in those games, and we're a bit more ruthless in the final third, a bit more clinical in terms of defending and making sure we clear our lines and do the things we're asking them to do, and work hard to get back and really regain the ball. And if we can do those things, then hopefully we can go into a positive result again this weekend.
Obviously Wimbledon quite a similar style as in the aggressive nature, and not in a malicious way aggressive, obviously talking the way they run at the ball, run for the ball, play for the midfield. What is it that you're looking to change to getting that result over the line against Wimbledon?
Yeah, I think it's a good challenge again for the boys, and they faced a couple of these types of challenges with men's teams over pre-season, which is always good for them. It's now that part for us of, okay, well, how do we still continue to do the messages that we've asked them to do? So this week's learning has been around building and how we play out and how we play against that aggressive front line that try and get after the ball a little bit. So how do we find ways to get through into midfield? How do we find ways to get around them? There's going to be times where we have to go over, but trying to find ways really to exploit the likes of Tom and Kian, Reid in midfield, where we can really play through, get them on the ball, and then can we progress up the pitch and try and dominate across the thirds to try and get the pitch really. So hopefully the boys have taken those messages on, and we'll see that come Saturday.
Obviously had all the pre-season now, and also the first game in Northampton now. You've got some of the first year lads who have stepped up now, and you brought Lou in from Melksham. How well do you think they're settling in and really cooperating with the team now?
Yeah, I think I've been really pleased with them. Lou's came in partway through pre-season and really impressed us, and has continued to impress us. He's gone through the last few weeks, really embedded well, part of the group. The other boys that have come in have been really integrated well with those second years. The second years have done really well to make them feel part of the club and feel welcome. And we're speaking to the boys this week. They feel part of it. They feel fairly safe in terms of being at the club and being around the staff. They're starting to ask questions. They're being curious. They want to know. They want to know why we do things in a certain way, which I think is always a positive. I think it shows the relationships that they've built, that they can feel that they can come and ask and challenge some of our thinking, which is really positive. People like Lou who have impressed. Tom's impressed with us. Teddy's impressed again. So those are really embedded, and you can start to see and hear when you walk past the changing room during the day, and they're getting their bits ready, and you can hear them talking and chatting. You get that feel that they're settled and they're part of the group, which is really important for us.
And obviously the club's massive with the academy wanting to live up to them standards, adventurous, industrious, and also being humble. As a collective now, the groups you've got, how happy are you living up to them standards?
Yeah, I think they're young boys, so they're always going to try and push those boundaries a little bit, but they do live those values, and you can see that on the pitch and off the pitch. They really work hard. It's been a good week in terms of training this week. They've really worked and tried to do the things we were asking them to do this week. They've pushed themselves and been adventurous in terms of trying to really go after things this week. And we've really tried to embed some of those philosophies as well alongside that around how we build and how we create and then how we finish. Pre-season has been good for us to get those messages out, and they're starting to embed those, which is really important for us.
And obviously you're talking about training there. How do you feel that training's gone this week leading up into Wimbledon this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's been a really good week. They've started to take on some of the messages. You can see that we did some work around building 6 weeks ago, and we're back into that cycle again, and you can start to see them starting to layer that now of, okay, well, I know that this happens at this moment, and now the next part happens at this moment, and we're starting to build that. So hopefully come Wimbledon tomorrow and we go and play that game, and you'll start to see some of those messages come out, and you'll start to see some of those key moments and key decisions start to come through, and the learning start to be embedded in that test, which is your Saturday game.
And obviously going into this weekend, how important now is it to get that win under the belt, head into the season for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think the win is the icing really on the cake. I think the biggest thing for us is the learning process that goes with that. They're not going to really remember when they're 26 that they beat Wimbledon on Saturday, but what they will remember is those key messages that we ask them to do. So the movements, the understanding, the quality of the ball, the ball contact they need to make, how they make their movements, how they time their runs, the working hard, regaining shape once the ball goes past them, how they've got back in and really defended, and the bits that we're asking them to do, they're the bits they're going to remember. They probably won't necessarily remember the result. We obviously will Saturday afternoon, but come 10 years time, hopefully the learning will be embedded and they'll remember the key learning parts rather than the result at the end of it.